What's up, everybody? Happy Hump Day. Welcome to another episode of What Was I Saying? And today we're going to keep it a little lighthearted because the topic of today, and this is a serious conversation, but it's simply, are you putting it down? And what do I mean by that? Simple fact, right? Are you putting it down with your lady friend, with your significant other? Think about it. Maybe they told you they did. But are they really telling the truth? Nah, I'm just messing with you. Just on some funny shit. But seriously, I did want to talk about that today. But before we get into the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, yours truly. Shout out to the 9 to 5 and this janky little setup we got here. Shout out to Walmart for the ring lights. Y'all keep me somewhat evenly lit. But hey, I'm just here to give y'all some content, have a few laughs, and enjoy it while we're doing it. So I wanted to talk about today, simply put, are you putting it down? And when I mentioned that because there was a YouTube clip probably, I saw it maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And essentially, it's probably staged, as a lot of things are these days. But the guy had sex with a woman, and he was upset that she didn't even remember his name after he, as he said, broke her back the night before. But it got me to thinking, after all the conversations I've had with women who lament about their partner's inability to please them, and the amount of men and my brother's like, yo, I killed it, I put it down. I'm like, yo, were you laying tile or pipe at the right house? I mean, I just don't understand. Or is it the sex has become a comical experiences like Broadway? Can we give out the award for the best performance? So a woman is dissatisfied. Man thinks he did something based on the feedback he gets from her. She suffers in silence until at one point she's with Jerome and getting the bus down. I mean, hey, that's the world we live in. If you don't have open communication, you don't know things aren't great. But yeah, it's just, what does that mean, right? That, going back to the communication point, all jokes aside, it is an interesting point because people don't like conflict. And if you don't like conflict, that ends up biting you in the ass in the long run because you don't get what you want. And when you don't get what you want, you're frustrated. And if you don't have an outlet for your frustration because you feel like you're being denied these basic needs or these pleasures, you end up acting out or going into directions that maybe they weren't that healthy. And it's just, a funny fact because I don't think any guy would talk about a time where like, hey, the sex was bad. Maybe she did give him a BDR. That's a bad dick report for those who don't know. But he's not going to tell the homies, right? It's like, I got to keep this up. Or the girl's like, oh, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was so great because she doesn't want to rock the boat. She feels, hey, this is a good guy. Another woman might try to snatch him up if he feels that I'm not pleased by his actions. So let me coddle his ego, right? But you create this monster. You got, again, the guy who's not doing what he should be doing, and the woman who's just frustrated and isn't doing what she needs to do to get her needs met, right? Anecdotally, I remember a situation, friend was telling me about individual, got married, great husband from the financial perspective and treating her well, but the entire time, I don't even think she had an orgasm ever, right? And that's a scary thing. Now, of course, people think like, hey, man ejaculates, and that's, the orgasm, but those two don't necessarily have to coincide with each other. But generally speaking, man's going to get a good release. Woman, maybe not so much. And if you think about the way media portrays a lot of things in society, and that becomes your teacher, there are so many conversations around women, hey, be careful, don't get pregnant, et cetera, and be mindful of your partner, be passionate, all of these things that carry some weight. The man's main concern is, hey, son, don't get any kids, don't bring any, babies back home. And you're kind of judged by the quantity of conquest, not necessarily the quality, right? Because I always joke and say it's easy to please one woman, a different woman every night, right? Because that's that first encounter. A lot of it's just excitement. There is the novelty of being with a new person that kind of perks you up and it gets you into that experience more fully immersed in, sensory part of that. But if you're continually sleeping with that person, it's like eating a great steak every night. That's if it is a steak, but that's like getting some good meat. Well, this puns could go all day, but it's like you're having this great experience. But if it's so frequent, it diminishes what's special about the event or things that were going on based on the scarcity, right? Because if something is more abundant, you may not appreciate it. You might take it for granted. Ergo, when it comes to the sex within the relationship, the man may think, hey, let me get a quickie in real, obviously quick, before we go do something. And the focus is shifted around these quick encounters that may not prioritize the woman's enjoyment. Now, of course, that goes both ways. I have myself encountered women that were very attractive, very, very attractive, right? But from the sex perspective, it was not too great. And when I say not too great, I would quantify, objectively saying people weren't too enthusiastic, just kind of chilling is what they would say. Won't get into too many any details there, but it's the idea that, hey, you should be happy that I'm even here. It's the equivalent of saying, hey, you know what, you pay me to do a job, but I just showed up at work today and you should be cool with that. I mean, performance review, what the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. You can miss me with that paperwork, you know what I'm saying? And then of course you can miss them with that whole relationship, because then you're out of there, right? But it's just, again, just a curious fact, right? And I think if you have to ask the question, right, what do you think of this? That's another thing I don't understand. I gotta tell my brothers, if you're doing this, please stop. Number one, if you're with a woman, with any partner in that moment, and you've made sure that you're both clean, right? You're both healthy, disease-free. Don't worry about her past encounters. Don't worry that, or am I the best you ever had? Am I the most XYZ? Because that's irrelevant. You have to enjoy that moment you have with that person and not compare it to everybody else or everything else. Right? That's where a lot of people, I think, fall off, and I think men, because there's that ego component that plays in, which is, hey, you think about cases where woman catches her man cheating. She's like, baby, I love you. It's okay. Let's get back together. We gonna work this out. We gonna get through this. And he's over here, big old tears on his face. It's like, oh, baby. Oh, I appreciate this so much. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as she sleeps with Reggie, baby girl, I need you to leave the house. I already changed the locks. I got a U-Haul and a pods for you so you can go ahead and get the stuff out of the house. You know what I'm saying? Look, I called your sister. I told you you're going to be on your way. So I don't know what you're going to do, but we just can't do this. This is irreversible. I can't believe that you hurt me in this way. Again, going back to that ego, which is very fragile, because it's this mine. How dare you play with my toy? But yeah, I mean, it happens a lot. Maybe people just get lucky. Some people are obviously vocal and open about their experiences, and they will communicate with their partner. But it's just very funny, because I don't think I've ever met a guy who said, hey, I had a bad night. Well, it's like, oh man, I put it down, with the chick. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's the same way if you ask 100 people and everybody's like, I've never robbed anybody. I'm not a criminal. I've never done anything illegal. And you're thinking, well, damn, do I just have this amazing ability to hang around the people who are, totally sexually fulfilling their partners? Maybe I do. I don't know. But hey, like they said, I think Pitbull had a song years ago. He said, even Tiger Woods had his off days. I've had my soft days. That's why this thing called foreplay. A lot of different ways to figure out a way to make your partner enjoy the experience, right? Because it is a special thing. Think about that moment with the person. And I'm not saying you got to wait till marriage or anything of that nature, but hey, enjoy it. Enjoy the intimacy. That's as close as you can be with somebody physically, because you're literally inside of them. So the least you could do is say, hey, I appreciate you inviting me here. Let me make sure you enjoy this experience, and let me communicate to you in a way that helps you enjoy the experience. Like, you can help me enjoy it, right? And then it's a beautiful thing, right? So that at least if you two spend some time together, it's mutually beneficial. Instead of just being a jackrabbit or the dude that says, hey, I put it down, or asking, is this the best you ever had, or some Drake type shit, or it's like, oh, is this the Lord? It's comical. I mean, because I'm just going to say, brothers, you ask some questions, you get the answer that you really wasn't looking for. But hey, that's what happens when you ask. You should have just kept, took her silence as like, Oh, which another thing, that whole thing where if she's like super, super loud and animated, that means she super enjoyed it. But if she's like very quiet, that means, oh my God, you weren't doing anything. And the dude proceeds to try to beat somebody's wall in like they're on, HGTV trying to do a house flip. I don't know. It's some crazy shit out there. But people enjoy intimacy experience in different ways. But I think a lot of the pornos that you see, which end up influencing a lot of the other amateur stuff people are putting out, it's such that everybody's extra animated, right? Which pornography, they're acting, right, to get into the experience. So that's not typically how your actual experiences are going to go. Some cases, that is the case, but everything's different. Don't expect people to act a certain way. Communicate with them. Make sure it's an enjoyable experience. So that's for it for today, right? Who knows when I'll pop up another video. But as I said, are you putting it down? Did you put it down? That's the important thing to think about. We live in a time when there's inflation on the rise, variants of certain things that are out there, which apparently your video gets flagged if you say it. They're out there, and you got to be careful out here. But the important thing is, did you put it down? But until next time, go ahead. If you like the video, click the thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, slap that thumbs down. Go ahead and subscribe if you felt you enjoyed this content as well, right? Share this video with some friends. I just randomly put these out and just share my mind on different things. I'm trying to do random content, right, and not get shoehorned into one avenue. I think my next video, I think I'm going to do a video game review, or at some point in the future, video game review, particularly Tales of Arise on the Xbox One. Amazing game. Oh my God, I love it. I'm at the end game right now. I'm grinding it out on a few levels and trying to max out some things and finish some side quests. But yeah, go ahead, like and subscribe. Share the video with a friend if you enjoyed it. And until next time, you take care and have a great day.